Hi guys, welcome to some more Real Talk Dog Talk. I'm Tori.
And I'm Barb.
For those of you who haven't joined us before, if you have any questions or comments, you can email us at realtalkdogtalk@yahoo.com.
And if you are a regular listener or emailer, we love hearing from you and getting those emails for ideas and answering questions that you might have.
Got some good stuff coming in, so.
Yep. So today I have been under the weather this week, so I'm going to kind of take the back burner to Tori today and let her run with the show, and me and Enzo and Jim will just kind of add a little when we can.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes, guys.
Yeah, I'm fully confident in you. So we're looking at the book Brain Games for Dogs by Claire Arrowsmith.
Yes. And actually, I wasn't expecting much, which sounds bad, but I thought it was more just games you can do, and there's actually some really good information in here.
Yeah, this is a book I've had for a while, and I always liked it. It's, sometimes you just don't feel like reading a book, but it's got great illustrations and a lot of information.
It really does. And it is nice to not have to just sit there and read paragraph of just information, like you said.
Right.
So brain games are actually really important for dogs. And after, going through this book, I realized that there's a ton of really good reasons why it is. I know you've said it before in other episodes, but, keeping them mentally active and busy is super important because it keeps them from, having bad behaviors, chewing on things. There's also stress, anxiety. You want to build up their confidence, which brain games can help with that as well.
Well, when you're training a dog, you're teaching them initially to obey.
Yes.
Follow your commands. But when you start getting them to use their brains, it also teaches them to think.
Yeah, which is super important.
Right.
I mean, it makes a smart dog even smarter.
Yeah.
So.
Obedience is awesome. Not knocking that, but getting the dog to think is a good thing.
Yep. And it does. Which a dog will do just about anything you ask them to with the right reward. So, and it should be fun. There's no reason for you to have a dog and just train them how to do sit and stay, especially after this. I mean, there's so many good ideas in here. But, another thing too is dogs have a natural instinct for certain jobs, we'll call it.
Yeah.
Sniffing things out, digging.
Shiba Inus are little hunting dogs.
Yep.
You got the guardian dogs.
Exactly. So they all have a natural instinct to want to do certain things. And these games can really help with that too, because you can even they have specific games that are more directed towards certain breeds even. That, some dogs may not be quite as active. There's games for that as well. And then
I think sometimes too, taking them out of their natural element kind of stimulates them too. Obviously they are more, a hunting dog is more geared to it's okay. Okay, the example, I gotta quit saying this one, but Dietrich tries to get the Cane Corsos to fetch, and not all Cane Corsos fetch.
They absolutely don't.
But it's good to get them, thinking about doing that.
Oh, yeah. Well, and they love running around together.
Right.
I mean, is it working the way he might intend for it to? Absolutely not. No. But everybody's having fun. The dogs are running around looking for the ball. It's good for everybody, and exercise and making my kid think too, so that's good too.
And climb under the deck for the toys.
That's right, yeah. Working on the agility there with him, So it really is important, and it helps with bonding. I'm all about bonding, guys.
Yeah.
It's a great thing for everybody involved in the whole thing. And
well, I think, not to interrupt, but I'm sure this is going to have some level of backlash, but sitting on your phone while your dog rolls around in something dead is not bonding.
No.
That is not bonding, and it's not stimulating.
Not at all.
So anything that you do where you're putting down your electronic devices, regardless of what they are, and actually connecting with your dog is going to not only create a bond, but I think it's going to make for a happier dog.
I agree with that. And it does actually talk in here about your dog's rewards. So, it could be a toy, a favorite toy that they have, mm-hmm. or high value treats. That's kind of what we like to use.
Now, what is, maybe we should clarify what a high value treat is.
Oh, yeah, like chicken nuggets, or like an extra tasty dog treat even. Mm-hmm. Just something that they don't have every day.
Right, something special.
Yeah.
I've even bought, I don't even know what it's really called, but in the meat department, they have like pre-cooked chicken that's skinless, boneless. It's not breaded or anything. It's just,
yep.
I'll buy those. There's, I don't know, $6-7.
Yeah.
And I'll get those and just dice up this little chunks in there. That goes over pretty well. Well,
and I've used that too, and it is a huge hit.
Yep.
So, and it does, you can also even put, just some of their normal kibble in there, and that'll pick up some of the flavoring from the chicken or whatever treats you use. Right. So you can kind of bulk up the treats without, spending a ton of extra money anyway.
Yeah.
And some dogs, even just the affection and attention from their owner shouldn't be the only reward probably, but that can work. I mean, if you're in a spot where you don't happen to have anything, and you find an opportune time to give them a command and stuff like that. Sometimes just being really excited and giving them
just the positive reinforcement.
Right. Can also be good for them too. So,
well, I know, I talk about Cody a lot. That's because he's kind of a character.
He is.
But, he and I frequently butt heads on using treats to reward dogs.
Mm. Yeah.
And he does not think that you should use treats because it's, teaching them that the only time they have to listen is when they get a treat.
Yes.
And I think that can happen.
Sure.
I can think of a dog or two that has happened with.
Yeah.
But I think if you kind of intertwine them, like sometimes just praise, and then sometimes a treat. And then sometimes a high value treat can also be a special toy.
Yeah.
Something that they absolutely love having.
Yep.
So I think if you just kind of mix it up, then the dog really doesn't have any anticipation of getting the raw chicken or the cooked chicken or the chicken nuggets or the special dog toy or just the bit of loving for doing good.
Yep.
If you mix it all up, they just don't even know what kind of happiness is going to happen.
Well, and that's the thing. They know something good's going to happen.
Yeah.
So they're going to want to listen. Yeah. And, it is good to switch it up because, and that's the thing. I mean, even just around your house, we've talked about it before. If you're at a point where you can just give a good command, it's a good opportunity.
Work it into your daily routine.
Yep. Yeah. That's, also switching it up to where, they're just going to want to listen to you no matter what the situation.
Well, I know Ziggy frequently looks in the fridge with me.
That is super cute.
And he never gets into the food. He just likes to apparently see what's in there with me.
Got to check it out.
Yeah. And He's really good about it because I can, it doesn't seem like a big thing.
Right.
But what I can say is back up or sit down.
Yep.
And it's just an opening of the fridge. You wouldn't think of that as a training opportunity.
No.
But he does know to back up or sit down when I tell him to. And you can work those little training sessions into opening a fridge.
Yep.
Walking through a room with the laundry or making your own meal. So
yep.
Life is a training opportunity.
Well, I accidentally trained my dogs to go to bed.
Right.
We were just talking, I mean, they do get treats, but, I'll put a toy in there for them to chew on if they happen to get bored at night.
Right.
But,
Yeah, so, high value treats, they're great for training. And I know I have some opposition on that, but I think it's how you use them.
I agree with that, yeah. That's the thing. It's just, you got to be mindful of things like that when you're training your dog. One thing I found in here that was actually kind of interesting and I didn't know is sometimes with certain breeds, if you don't introduce toys to them when they're a puppy, they don't really get it. And they'd rather chew on your furniture or a shoe than the toys that they're supposed to.
So it's best to start them when you get them right off the bat.
Give them the right kind of toys. And you want to kind of think about it too because, when they're puppies, they're going to have different toys than they do when they're adults, most likely. Maybe some of the smaller breeds, maybe not.
Yeah.
But they go through the teething stage, and you want something that's going to keep them interested in that without hurting them because, they got the teeth are falling out, so you don't want them to be scraping up their gums and all of that. And they do need to know, okay, this is what you chew on. Don't, give them something that they should be chewing on so they're not finding something else
right
to chew on when they are teething.
Like a shoe.
Like a shoe. Enzo, I don't know what his deal is. He really doesn't chew on stuff. He's good about sticking with his toys, but every once in a while he gets some wild hair and decides he's going to chew up just one shoe.
Oh.
He's a dead giveaway because I walk in the door and he's already like looking guilty. He like crouches down like he's in trouble, and I'm like, "What did you do?" No, really, what did you do?
So he's telling you what he did.
He is, and I haven't.
Little body language ratting him out.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and it's interesting that you talk about body language too, because they talk in here about with training, it is important to put body language with your training because dogs, they base a lot of what they know off of body language.
Yeah.
That's how they communicate and all of that. And so when you're are in training them and giving them commands and things like that, if you put emotion with a hand gesture or some sort of signal, that's going to kind of help reinforce that command. And then you have whatever high value treat, whether it's a toy, your affection, or chicken, which I hadn't thought about that. I talk with my hands, so I'm always doing something like that, but it's something you don't really think about. I think sometimes you just listen to what I'm saying,
You'd think about it if you had a deaf dog.
Probably. They are out there. I've seen some videos on the internet. Luckily they're all pretty good videos. They're waking them up very gently. And you got to go about things just a little differently with those dogs, but hand signals are big, especially with deaf dogs. So, but that, with deaf dogs, even, when you start doing brain games and things like that, you kind of want to make sure that you're looking at your dog for, do they have physical limitations? What's their personality type here? Do we need something that's for a little more laid back dog or one that's bouncing off the walls and needs to go running around the yard?
Right.
Or it does say stuff in here about fat, lazy dogs. So there's those two. Not that I have any.
No.
Never.
Well, I do know with Zeus. He's my high energy guy.
Yes.
When I first got Zeus, I had dog treats in my upper jacket pocket, in the breast area, breast pocket. And I quickly learned that was a good way to end up on the ground.
Oh, he's going to find him. Okay.
So I typically, you definitely have to think about the energy level. I mean, are they going to leap up and knock you down grabbing him or what? He needed a few lessons on manners. He's much better now, but sorry.
Yeah, right.
Interject that little.
Well, and, that's the thing. Most of the dogs that we have, Elsa's had a few litters and, they're all pretty laid back. Zeus, he's the male and he adds a little extra to the puppies. So we've had to kind of adjust to that.
It seems like they're kind of clowns.
They are ridiculous.
They are the silliest dogs in the world.
It's adorable. And, they're super smart and very affectionate. But, yeah, they are clowns. They're always messing around. I mean, they need brain games. Okay. So, they love toys. I mean, I think with some of them, I think a toy would be plenty of reward for them.
Bolo is actually out of Zeus.
Yes.
And her name is Bolo, as in be on the lookout.
And you gotta be.
Yes. She is probably my absolute. She needs constant monitoring. While I was sick this week, she got 2 remotes and one of my phones.
Oh, man.
She just has to have somebody overseeing her all the time.
Yep.
And she's I would say the most mischievous out of the litter.
Oh, yeah.
She's kind of a handful. So, definitely if you're looking in terms of brain games, a dog that's really high energy like her is one that you really have to rein in. And I think, brain games are super beneficial for getting a dog like that.
Yeah.
To take it back a step and focus.
Right.
And I am not going to lie, she is more work to get her to focus. But the fact that she is more work getting her to do it tells me that there's more of a need for it.
Right. And she is super smart. She learns very quickly.
Yes.
And adorable, of course. But yeah, she is very high strung. I think she could probably run all day and still have more energy to go.
Yeah.
And you have said it before, I think, where, that mental stimulation can be just as tiring for the dog as the physical running around.
I have read that it's actually even more exhausting for a dog because they have to, like I said, focus and apply themselves, where, running just comes natural.
Yeah, they do that anyway.
It's kind of like starting a new job.
Yeah.
When you're doing the same career for years and years and years, and I don't know, you're in your 30s and you're thinking, I'm going to try something else. And you really have to apply yourself. You'll find yourself being more exhausted. Not that it's physical, but just mentally exhausting to make that transition into a new position or type of career.
Well, and I can attest to that.
Yeah. So when you're, taking a dog that's high energy and loves the run and all that, to transition them into a position of focusing and taking the time to think through how to get treats or how to play a game, or just simply to back away from a refrigerator. That's a totally different, that's a game changer for them.
And also when you have, say you get a dog like that's more high energy and you have kids as well, you really want to think about what kind of games and training you do. And I think it's very important to include the kids in it also. I mean, I've said it before, my kid is always playing with dogs and he tries to train them, but, he's, I think, less focused than the dogs are sometimes, actually.
Well, again, it's that interaction that creates a bond, too. I mean, even if it's not done correctly. We're talking a lot about focusing the high drive dogs, but honestly, brain games can stimulate a dog that isn't really active, too.
It can, and it can actually help it maybe be more active, even just, oh, well, this is fun. Let's do that again, and that's the thing, Jim is not really a playful dog. He's kind of like got the cat attitude where he just wants to nap and,
He'll let you know.
Right, yeah. But, when my son gets out his little dishes to do the little game that they do together, Jim is all about it. He's like, yep, let's go.
Well, the game that she's referring to, I believe I got out of this book. We started back when Dietrich was little. I know I've mentioned it in other episodes, but you take a kibble of food, a treat, and put it under an upside-down cup.
Yep.
And then you have two other ones, and you mix. It's like the nut trick where you mix the upside-down cups around.
Yep.
And then you have the dog find the cup that has the treat under it.
Yep.
And that was something that I thought Dietrich could do at a very young age.
Yes.
And I think he started messing around with that game when he was probably 3.
4. Yep.
And he didn't do it right.
No, not at all.
And neither did Jim.
No.
But they had a blast doing it, and Jim was running around chasing treats all over the kitchen floor, and it was a great time for them, so they were able to play whatever game they were playing.
Right.
And enjoy each other's company. So I think for kids, that's the important thing.
It really is. And, Jim is not really the type of dog that wants to sit when you tell him to or anything like that. He will sit now, but it took a while.
8 years later.
Yeah. But with Dietrich playing that game with him, he actually, he maybe doesn't sit as well as he could, but he listens much better, as far as when Dietrich's, he knows kennel, he goes to his kennel and all that stuff. Dietrich can give him those commands, and, he does listen. So I think, it's helped a lot, and they still don't do it right, but they still have fun doing it. So, it's, he's not a high energy dog either, so it's a good game for him because he doesn't really want to run around or anything like that at all. So another thing you want to keep in mind too when you're, deciding what kind of games and stuff you're doing with your specific dog is, are there any behaviors that they already have? Because you want to make sure that those are kind of corrected before you start doing games with them. Because if they don't listen to you anyway, the game probably isn't going to go quite as well as you might hope, which they don't always anyway. That's something too. They're not always... It's a game, so it's a little less serious than training, but you still want them to listen to you and do what you're telling them to do.
True, there are some behaviors that a dog might have that could be put to some sort of use. I was noticing in the book they had one where it looked like either a kiddie sandbox or a pool where they filled it with sand.
Yeah.
And then hid a toy in it for the dog to find.
Yeah.
And, that might actually help a dog that has digging issues channel that behavior into the correct area to do it.
Yeah, so they're not digging up holes in your yard. And
like mine.
Yeah,
Yeah, because if they are a dog that is, I think terriers. I feel like I read this like 100 years ago that they used to put in China.
Yep.
Or on the ships coming from, wherever the Columbus was on, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That they put terriers in holes to get the rats and stuff like that.
Yes.
So this is a behavior that is kind of, bred into that specific dog. So instead of trying to stop it, because that is their nature,
right,
you're channeling it to an appropriate place for them to do that.
Exactly.
So sometimes it's not about correcting a behavior, but managing a behavior.
Yeah, good, yeah.
So if you're going to have a dog that's, a hole digger, it might make sense to try to get them to do it in the correct spot.
Well, and
which can be stimulating too.
Right, it really can. And if that's their instinct, they're gonna want to do it no matter what. You can't really stop them from something that's, like you said, in their nature. It's just they're gonna do it one way or another.
Right.
So, and honestly, a dog is gonna do just about anything you want him to if you give him the right motivation to do it.
Cody was showing us the video the other day about I think it was over in the UK.
I think so.
Don't quote me on that one, but they were teaching a dog to drive.
I couldn't believe it. I thought he was full of crap when he said that.
Yep. They did an indoor simulated situation.
Yep.
And if I'm not mistaken, it was a stick shift.
Yep.
It was a automatic. Maybe their cars are different. Maybe it wasn't, but it looked like it.
Yep.
And they were teaching the dog to steer. They had a seatbelt on him. And then one of the shots was of the dog actually driving a car in an open field, not in traffic. Right. And the lady was walking along hanging on to a leash out the window. And I just thought, I'm not real sure what she's going to do there.
Well, right?
Okay.
Oh, man.
So that was, he told me what is he? He was talking about teaching dogs to drive cars, and I was like, no way. But sure enough, he had the video to prove it, and someone is teaching dogs to drive cars.
Which is crazy. Like I said, I thought he was full of crap. There's no way. And it's the thing.
He proved us wrong.
He did. It was, that high value treats, guys. Okay. There you have it.
What, Burger King drive-through?
It would take that, at least that for my dogs. Okay.
Well, if they're driving, they go where they want.
That's right. Can you imagine what dogs would do if they could? Oh man.
I'm trying to think where my dogs would take themselves.
Well, Zeus might go to the river.
Ziggy would, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Ziggy likes the river.
He was loving that. He just about floated away.
Zeus might go back to Oklahoma.
He might. The weather's nicer there. Yeah. It's true. Hey, take me with. No. But, and that goes along, too. When you're doing the training and stuff, as important as high value treats are and the reward, you really don't want to be punishing them when you're doing a game with them. That can just make something that's supposed to be really fun a really negative thing for them too. Yeah. And, that's not the point. You're trying to get a positive thing with them. Something that's not just training. Obviously it helps with that too, but, it's supposed to be fun and laid back and all that. And, when you start punishing them in the middle of trying to have a fun time, they're probably not going to want to do it again. Or very
That
often.
applies to kids too.
It really does.
So
it does.
Not that that's what this podcast is about, just a little bit of...
Well, I know you've said it, dogs and kids...
They're a lot alike.
They really are. It's true.
People get offended by that, but it's kind of true.
Well, it is. I mean, if you constantly get after a kid for, doing anything,
They're going to start chewing on your furniture.
Yeah, they are. Which is way more expensive than just food anyway. That's expensive enough. But that's something to keep in mind too. It can be frustrating and you need patience and all of that, but you really want to focus on making the game a positive, fun experience for the dog because, again, they're not going to want to do it a whole bunch if you're just yelling at them. So
well, I think some of the things I like about this book is, it refers to, the great thing is it looks at all aspects of dogs. It looks at the energy level, the health level, and even if you just, thumb through it, it even has ideas on like outdoor space, if you're in a small area. It just gives you a lot of different variety on, where you can do different types of brain games.
Yep.
So, one that was for indoors is, hiding from them, which I don't really play hide and seek with my dogs.
I saw that too, and I thought,
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's a game for me and my dogs,
right.
But
yeah, it's just got a lot of variety as far as not just the dog specifically or the reward, but even locations, the types of things that you might need, and even they'll have indoor agility setups if you have more area to work with. I would love to set an area like that up outside of my regular dog yard.
Yeah.
So that you could take one dog individually out and let them, go through a maze or climb on something or go through a tunnel, things along those lines, instead of just always having them in the yard running randomly around there,
right,
barking at the deer or whatever.
Well, and that's, some dogs definitely do need that more than others. So, one day, maybe Bolo might need more time out there running around.
Might need.
Probably.
Yeah, and even like some of the pole weaving that you see in the agility courses, they just have little cones that they have a dog zigzag through.
Yeah.
And that's, very inexpensive things that you can get in your sports department at Walmart or the toy area. You don't have to spend a ton of money on it. Even like sometimes you can do things that are just busy things. One thing I've done with dogs, and I've lost a few dish rags on it, but you can lay out a flat dish rag and just randomly place treats in it and then roll it up.
Oh, yeah.
And then tie it in a knot.
Yep.
And then the dog actually has to figure out how to get to those little treats.
Oh, yeah.
And they'll, kind of unknot it or whatever. Sometimes they chew up the dish rag, so you might want to choose carefully what you use.
Yeah, but don't let them eat the whole washcloth. That can be bad.
And that's another thing in this book is it refers to some safety tips.
Yep, it definitely does. Well, and that's the thing. You don't want to just give them a toy and say, here you go. They do have those mentally stimulating toys, which are kind of geared a little bit more towards that. But, this book actually has a ton of good stuff in it. So it's, and when you first start to, with any game, you want to make sure that, there's not a ton of, it's just like regular training at first, not very low to no distractions, keep things shorter, and, maybe do it, not right after they've eaten. So obviously the reward is going to be greater if they haven't got a full belly. Or do a couple different games within a shorter period. So, it kind of keeps that mental stimulation kind of going and all of that. And it does say in here that dogs can respond correctly to up to 200 different word cues.
So backup from the fridge isn't really ranked very high, I would imagine.
Well, I can't really speak on that because I give whole sentences to my dogs. So, it's one of those things where it depends on the dog, I think, with that.
Well, I think with my dogs, all this stuff is like super cool. I will say, as I'm sitting here holding my book.
Yes.
Well, I was sick this week. I already talked about Bolo's Destruction.
Mm-hmm.
She also got my brain game book.
She wanted to read it. She's like...
I don't know, or is she making a statement, I need stimulation? I'm not sure.
Read this.
Yeah. That being said, I will say that I think, with my dogs, what I would say about them is they aren't going to win any obedience competitions. They aren't going to win any, good citizen, awards, nothing like that. But when I look at dealing with dogs, I think that I focus a lot on manners.
Yes.
And them understanding what I expect from them.
Right.
And, whenever I teach a dog to walk on leash, yes, I want him to heel. I'm not going to be the person that's doing the military training with my dogs. None of that is my area of interest. But I think it's super important for them to understand behavior, how to behave in the, it's just like with kids. You teach them not to play rowdy in the house, but go outside and play rowdy.
Right.
And, it's just teaching them to have good house manners and know that what you say goes.
Right.
And when it comes to the brain games, I know when I'm not spending enough outside time with my dogs when, Gabby comes up and flips the phone out of my hand, which she does on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And she's, pretty much saying, hey, pay attention to me.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I complain about her doing that, it hits me at that very second. Well, I guess I should be playing with her. But I think it's, with the brain games and getting their thinking in order and stimulating them, you're teaching them to communicate with you and to understand what you want from them and
right.
also to think for themselves.
Right.
So, it's not just about the game, but the connection and what it can do for you overall.
Well, and that's the thing too, when you do that with the dog, it's, thinking for themselves. You don't always have to give them a command. They start just kind of figuring out what they should and shouldn't do instead of, saying no all the time or, all of that. They are able to think for themselves and, oh, I shouldn't do that. So they go find a toy or, whatever.
Well, and that's, introducing them to a toy at a young age instead of letting them getting used to chewing on a shoe or the leg of a chair or something. So, there's a lot to it there. I saw a post. I love talking about posts because I think they're entertaining and ridiculous all at once.
Yeah.
But this guy was going out to his living room with a plate and a piece of pizza on it.
Okay.
And I believe it was a pit bull sitting on the couch. It was a blue and white one. It's super cute. And the guy acted like he fell down and passed out.
Oh, no.
And then the pizza was sitting on the floor on the plate.
Right.
And the dog sat for a second and looked at the situation. And I was thinking the dog, I thought the guy was going to say, hey, I got this great dog. He's not going to take the pizza.
Yeah. And
slowly the dog creeped up on the plate and took his pizza.
He was just making sure he was really out before he went for that slice of pizza.
He wasn't concerned about his well-being.
No.
And I thought that was super cute. But yeah, so you just want, this is just, I always think of us as about being part of a dog community and sharing ideas and all that. And, it's not a competition. Not everybody is going to raise, award-winning champion dogs. And all this stuff is just fun stuff that creates a better situation with you and your dog and your family. And it makes your life just so much easier.
It really does. And, that's the thing. I mean, there's some really not... I was looking at some of the games they have, and I had to chuckle at a couple of them because, I mean, what really would you need? One of them was bringing a Kleenex to you after you sneeze.
Oh.
And
I need that.
Yeah, right now, yeah. Which I gotta say, there are a couple things about that. One, that's very impressive if you can get your dog to do that. But well, with my dogs specifically, I guess, I think it'd be more wet from slobber, and I don't think I'd want that on my nose. And two, my dogs eat whole rolls of toilet paper if I'm not careful, so...
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know how effective those tissues would be after they brought them over.
Yeah, but, it's even things like that where it's just, I mean, entertaining and, impressive.
Hey, if you can get your dogs to do that,
that's amazing.
Hats off to you, but...
not in this house, I can tell you that. Mm-mm. I mean, we got to cover our food when they shake their heads, so if they're bringing me a tissue, I'm probably...
I washed my living room window last night, and you almost got to scrape that thing.
You do, yeah. Yeah, some people probably do wash their windows every day, but I certainly don't, and it's a real task. But yeah, I mean, again, there's a ton of really good stuff in this book, and I think there's really fun stuff. They have stuff that's more geared towards kids and, adults. So they kind of have something for everybody, and they do have things they explain in there where, this might be a good game for a certain breed, to go with their natural instincts, as far as like digging in the right spot instead of your yard.
Well, and this lady, Claire Arrowsmith, actually, she's got great credentials, and she, when I see someone that has, valid credentials, what that tells me is they probably do know what they're talking about.
Right.
But again, not everything applies to everybody. So, when you look at these kind of books, it's helpful, it's fun, some of the stuff you can use. The reason I like this book is because, okay, let me just pick something here. I'm going to, 12. Let's see.
Here we go.
That didn't work. Okay, so.
Spin the wheel again.
Okay, yeah, let me try this again. You could just open it up to something. Okay, number 5 is indoor agility, and it's got descriptions and pictures, so you can kind of see how it works. It talks about, location, props, anything that you might. So it's a really good book. So it's excellent for ideas and just fun things. And if you have a family, like we started day trick playing with, Tori's dog. I mean, it's, if you got kids sitting around playing video games, more worried about social media than life.
Right.
Go through a book like this, get some ideas, get the kids out in the yard or in the family room, doing a thing or two with the dogs. And, it ends up being a lot of fun. It
really does. And, it might be, getting them going and they're learning stuff, but that's the great thing about it. I mean, they're getting some training under the belt. The kids are involved in that. That's going to help the bond there. The dogs are going to listen better. The list goes on.
No, there is a trick where it teaches you to put a treat on your dog's nose. I kind of have a problem with that because if someone put food on my nose, I would bite them.
Yeah.
So, not everything in here is something I would do, but great tricks, great entertainment and interaction. So
Yeah.
I really like this book. I've had it for some time, and I even gave one to my brother.
Yeah.
He has a little King Charles Spaniel, and I mean, I just really think this is a great book.
Something for everybody, that is for sure.
Yeah. And again, it's called Brain Games for Dogs. So, and it's by Claire Arrowsmith. So, it's just a really good kind of a fun idea book, and whether your dog is young, old, high energy, low energy, it's got something for everybody in there.
It really does. So, I would suggest checking it out, see what's in there. That, again, something for everybody.
Two, if you do have, a dog that you have concerns about health-wise, it's always a good idea to check with your vet and see if there are any limitations. If your dog's just overweight or has a health issue, always check with your vet. And if you're ever concerned about activities that you're doing, if you really want to do things by the book, it's good to check with your local trainers if you have them available.
Yep. Which we always suggest that, no matter what the situation. So,
yeah. So next time we're going to be talking about dogs in cars.
That's a tricky one.
That is being more and more common. You'll see people driving around with their dogs. So we're going to see what we can dig up on that.
Yep, I like that one. And again, if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and email us at realtalkdogtalk@yahoo.com or comment down below.
Thank you for joining us, and we hope that you will be here for our next episode.
Bye.
Goodbye.